Hello and welcome to Back to the Boardroom. I'm Greer.
And I'm James.
And this week we're talking all about the interviews. It's one of the best episodes every year, and this year's interviews completely delivered. Some cracking lines and lots to go through. So, James, do you want to give us a bit of a rundown? It's not the task, but of who the people are and what to expect.
Yeah, so we got Mike Suter, the infamous domain name guy who notices clear things you haven't done with your business and picks it up in front of you. We've got Claudine Collins, can very much pick apart your business plan. Claude Littner, the numbers man. And also Linda Plant, who can be quite feisty.
That is the word for it, I think, especially this year. So let's go through some of our top moments then, because there are a lot to talk about with the interviews. I enjoyed how at the start of this episode we get to find out a bit more about the candidates, like on a human and personal level. We get to see their families and their businesses. A couple of things that I thought was interesting is that Priyesh was named the person who has the most wins under his belt so far, even though Lord Sugar last week did a "how did you get in?" I thought that was quite good. And then I also enjoyed that we found out a bit more about everybody's finances, including Dan proudly saying, "I've made my first million by time I was 25." So lots of bragging about millions.
Yeah, still got a while to go here.
Yes, I think we all do. But well done, Dan. Although it sounds like he's got a spending problem. So
Exactly, yes. So I've got to start. It's a Mike moment for me. Are you gonna guess?
Is it going to be him asking Priyesh whether he can make a cocktail?
Absolutely. That was kind of like my key wow moment of the episode. But don't forget, before that, he asked whether he has registered the business, whether he has accounts, and no was the answer to both of them. So he slaps him with, it's a hobby then, not a business.
Excellent line.
And then you're kind of derailed with that. And then he brings out the make me a cocktail. A Paloma, which I've never heard of myself. And I don't think Priyesh did that bad. Because even though Mike said, I've never in my entire life had a Paloma that has Cointreau in it, he ended with, however, it is drinkable, which is high praise.
Yeah, it's a lovely compliment. I hadn't heard of a Paloma before. I've just Googled it if you want to make it at home. It's got tequila blanco, agave syrup, lime juice, pink grapefruit juice and soda water. So he was at least on it with the flavours and knew one alcohol to put in there. I'd say that's quite impressive. But the sight of Mike pushing out that little drinks trolley, I could not believe what I was watching. I was thinking, A, excellent television, and B, this is so mean. It's just so mean for Priyesh. But yeah, excellent moment. But did you also like...
I had actually a listener contact me about this segment.
Amazing.
Apparently was the funniest bit for them was after that horrible segment of Priyesh having to make a drink, he walked the wrong way and got all confused. Excellent. I didn't even notice that. But thank you, Rihanna, for messaging that in.
I love that so much. No, I didn't notice that either. That's incredible. But I can totally see him being so flustered. But we love these Mike sort of gotcha moments. And I really thought he had one with Karishma. But I was so happy when she could identify which one was her rosehip oil out of the various vials that he'd had. That was incredible. Like, I mean, he probably was thinking, damn, she didn't fall for my test. But yeah, I thought that was great that she managed to get it.
Yeah, definitely. I was very much wondering whether she would get it, because it looked like she got the colour right immediately, differentiated those two that weren't the case. And then she said, can I smell it? And I guess I guess she knew her stuff.
Yeah, she obviously spends a lot of time using her own product, which is the whole point. So yeah, I thought that was great. One thing that I was a charisma moment as well, but she also said it with, I can't remember who was, Lawrence, I think, Linda, just deciding to say mid-interview, this interview is over. Like, can you imagine if you're in a job interview and you were saying, oh, I've done this, this and this, and the interviewer says, actually, this interview is over, in a really frosty manner. That was quite intimidating.
It was, and not an ideal thing to hear. I think, I think a lot of the edits of this interview stage haven't painted too many people in a good light, I don't think. But there was one moment I liked with Linda as well. It was with Pasha, and Linda said, this plan is 7 pages long. It could be written on a napkin.
Yes, I love that line. That was so good. But in comparison to Lawrence's 75-page business plan, which he did admit that he'd passed through AI, when they kept asking, the first thing I had written on my notes this week to say was, how much of these business plans do you think were written by ChatGPT? I think people use ChatGPT for absolutely everything, or AI for everything. So of course you're going to put it in. And Lawrence said, yeah, I mean, I didn't just let it spurt out nonsense. I did put my words through it, but yeah, not good, because Mike said it sounded like made a glamorous industry sound like a tax return, and it's the most tedious business plan that he had ever read. So not a great review for ChatGPT.
I do think there is a lot of hate towards AI in this episode. I think the advisors and Lord Sugar clearly had a distaste towards it. And I think it was overplayed quite a bit because, sure, there is the overuse of it, but it is a thing that will be with us probably forever now. So I'm quite surprised they weren't a bit more optimistic, given that it is future thinking.
That is a good point. And I also think it was a big basis for Lawrence's own business. He was talking about automations and things and making work for PR professionals easier. So he was trying to sell a tech business, but you might be right. The people actually there interviewing Anne Lord Sugar possibly weren't interested in a tech business.
Especially not with the numbers that were apparently quoted by Lawrence of 5.5 million, I think.
5.5 million, but don't forget that, let's see. Yes, Claude said to him about his projections, are you joking? You want me to look at that? And it was a spreadsheet that was printed so small on one A4 bit of paper, no one could read it. So I don't know if that was better that we couldn't read his numbers or that we actually could and they were all a bit too ambitious.
I'm just very, there must be some really weird constraints they are given in their business plan. Like they're locked away and they have to write it under timed conditions or something like that, because they're so different. And I don't know.
I know, it's a tough one. You do think, how much have they written before they come in, because they're obviously so different, so they must be doing it independently, but then they get put in the strange binder with their names emblazoned on the front in a very boring fashion. So I don't know, it'd be interesting to find that out, a bit of behind the scenes. I
wanted to actually say, talking about as you've brought up the binder,
yes,
I just want to say what a waste of fuel and time it is for Lord Sugar and Baroness Brady and Tim to come to the I can't remember what it's called. Was it called the Hilo building?
Something like that, yes.
Something like that. All to say hello, collect some business plans and send them up the escalator.
I absolutely agree, but you've also got to think about the team that essentially had to come out and get them ready. Baroness Brady's makeup and hair and suit was all pressed, and Lord Sugar's looking very glamorous. They would have had people up early out for them for that 5-second walk to the ground floor of the skyscraper, but I agree, yeah. At least he's there, though, in this important week. He's not an AI version.
He is. I do give Lord Sugar a hard time for not attending, so I've got to probably pick a lane. So well done on that.
That is true. Something I found really interesting, I don't know if it's a top moment, but at least an interesting moment, is that Dan played quite an interesting game in some of the interviews, because he started asking questions back to the interviewer. And it sounded like Claude especially was saying, I know it's the edit, so they might all have had opportunities to ask questions or something, but Claude was saying in his only bit we saw with Dan is that Lord Sugar could do a lot for you. He's a really fantastic person, and he'd be a fantastic partner for you, he actually said. So that was interesting. But then he also asked Claudine, after his interview had sort of ended, he got up and then he went, oh, well, actually, what do you think I should do? I'm in a really difficult position. I was getting a bit confused about what his difficult position was, whether he actually wanted Lord Sugar or carried on with a successful business himself. But yeah, it was an odd one. Dan did seem to want their opinions as well, which was kind of a good tactic, I thought.
Because I guess he wanted to give away 50% of this new business that
yes,
I guess doesn't have as much equity or success as his main one. And we all know that Lord Sugar wouldn't be interested in that.
No.
He's done it before. I think it was a dental practice.
Yeah.
I can't remember the candidate, but basically he wanted 50% in all of the dental practices, whereas they were only offering one, and they said bye-bye.
Yeah, that is true. Probably a good business move there. Last one, just going back to the jotted it down on a napkin line. We also had the 7-page plan. It's like Lawrence's on Ozempic, which I like that joke.
That was in the boardroom. Final one for me, actually, just because I've seen it. I couldn't get over the fact that Pasha's company was called Ancool.
Yes, an interesting one. I love their names. Oh, we didn't even say that Priyesh had his name taken already by several other businesses around the country.
And it wasn't Mike that brought that up.
Yes. So I just think excellent interviews all round, some brilliant top moments, and yeah, it really rattled all of the candidates. So something that will probably rattle both of us, we're coming on to our penultimate. Is it our last elevator pitch, or is it our penultimate one? Are we going to do one in the final?
It might be our last one. We'll see what happens next week, because the independent adjudicator sends her apologies this week that a unsuitable task has been provided.
Oh no, okay. So I was nervous already, but now what is the unsuitable task?
There is no pitch. However, you have got You've got 3 questions to answer.
In an interview, as if you're interviewing me?
It's not in an interview. It's a game called Is It Claude or Is It Claude?
Oh, okay. Excellent. Love it.
Okay. A few disclaimers here that we can prove that none of this is true or not, but we're just going with what Claude, the AI, has given us. So, our independent adjudicator went on Claude AI.
Okay.
And basically asked for the AI to come up with a game to give us, each of us, 3 quotes that Claude Littner says. Well, not exactly. It could be a made-up quote, or it could be a quote that Claude Littner says on The Apprentice. Again, no fact-checking has been done, so this might not be accurate.
Okay.
We're just going with what the AI says.
So it could all be Claude AI.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it could all be Claude AI, but we're going to go with how well can you spot Claude Littner or Claude AI. So you've got 2 pieces of paper. Okay.
And they've been annotated this week, so maybe I could pick a different one.
You've got Bank A and Bank B.
Bank B is what I'm going for. Not the usual diagonal.
Not the usual diagonal. These are thick.
Yes. So
squares.
am I putting time on the clock for these questions, or are we just going to go for it?
There are no time limit, but
I
you
can
need to do it quickly.
Stop my breathing exercises now. So.
Okay. So Bank B. Okay. Here are your quotes even.
Yes.
So number 1, if you put me in charge, I guarantee results. If you don't, you're lost.
I'm going to say that's Claude AI.
Incorrect.
Oh no, it could be Claude Littner.
It's Claude Littner, maybe.
Maybe. Okay. It sounded too business jargon.
Number 2, week in, week out, I'm delivering. Nobody else here can say that.
Oh, I'm going to say it's Claude Littner.
It is Claude Littner,
Apparently.
And your final one is, I'm here to assist you, not the other way around. So let's focus on what you need.
Claude AI.
It is Claude AI.
Yes. Okay. 2 out of 3 is not bad.
There we go. Okay.
Okay. So I have been sent James's questions, and we're going to go through them and find out whether they are AI, Claude AI, or Claude Littner, apparently. So they're not questions, they're quotes. Are you ready, James?
I'm ready.
The first one, interesting. I don't have personal feelings, but I do genuinely try to be helpful in every interaction. Is that Claude Littner or Claude AI?
That sounds like an AI.
Okay, well, you have the answers, so we're going to bank these and work them out in the end.
Thanks, please.
Okay, So we've got one for AI. Quote number 2, I don't do mediocre. Mediocre is not in my vocabulary. Claude Littner or Claude AI?
I think Claude Littner.
That's what I would have said as well. And then the third one, I want to make sure I understand what you're asking before I give you an answer.
I think that's Claude Littner as well.
Do you think? I feel like that's Claude AI. But we'll see. So you've gone
AI Littner.
AI Littner. What are the real answers?
Oh, it is AI. AI Littner. AI.
Oh, okay.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. So we drew.
There we go. That was the non-elevator pitch challenge. I don't know.
I quite like it because it gives us a definitive winner. Well, or it
No
should.
one.
I mean, no one. We've drew, but I mean, there was more competition than subjectivity in the usual elevator pitch. But good game, independent adjudicator. I like that one. So it's time to go back to the boardroom, and it was a really interesting boardroom because we kind of have two. The first one is when all of the trusted advisors of Lord Sugar come back in and give their feedback, and then we have the candidates, and I just loved all of it. So let's go through what some of the advisors said about the candidates, shall we? So I enjoyed they were all quite cutting, and they were all quite honest with their opinions. First of all, I think Claude summed up Priyesh pretty well, saying he should stay in his day job.
Yep. He's got a good day job. He should stay there. Definitely.
I mean, he obviously likes making cocktails at family parties, which is great, but whether it's a business, we don't know. And then Claudine actually said that she bought the product and really liked it and used it and was sort of showing off her face as well, which I thought was a very positive review.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think we've seen such a glowing review.
And then Claude said he pretty much threw Lawrence out of the interview, which kind of beginning of the end for Lawrence there on the numbers thing.
Yeah, I don't think Claude was impressed. And he certainly reflected that in his summary to Lord Sugar.
Exactly. And then on to Pasha, I think sort of the overarching thing, I think it was Linda that said, where's the actual money? She talked a lot about her being very sort of personal and a relationship based, but where's the money in her business? And then Dan, lastly, it was said that he was a good entrepreneur and he had a very good database, which I liked and I thought you would appreciate as well.
Yes, I like that. A good database.
A good database.
But there was obviously mention of his, business split and also the fact that he's a bit of a spender.
Yes, hey, big spender. So I think before we go through what Lord Sugar ended up doing and some of the candidates' reactions, we do need a little bit of an update on one of our favourite characters, the receptionist. But I also wanted to point out we had yet another staff member letting the team know that they were ready for their interviews.
We did. We had... That's something new for Series 20, I think. They would just miraculously disappear in the previous series, I think. So that was interesting. Yes, the receptionist. We got a different angle as we saw the trusted advisors walk past her desk. I think so. She was wearing a red headscarf, which stood out quite a lot. I don't think it's been quite as bright in the other episodes, so I spotted that. And there was a couple of times where there were different tables on the screen, so some work was being done. So that is your receptionist update.
I know we're going to have to come up with a catchier title, aren't we, for that going forward. So let's get on to the candidates. A few moments that I thought in the boardroom that were interesting is Lord Sugar saying to Karishma, "Look me in the eyes and tell me that your skincare product works," as if that was going to sort of magically get rid of the medical claims that they weren't sure about.
And something about he's been in the skincare business for long. The things he's forgotten, you've not even learned.
What a great quote.
He loves chucking out a quote like that.
Yes. And also with Karishma, Karen said that Karishma has more Instagram followers than Karen.
It's good. It's impressive.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some good numbers.
Did you realise when the music sort of was playing, it caught up to me. I didn't realise he started talking about Priyesh, and then the music came and I thought, oh no, we're going to get our first firing, and Priyesh was gone pretty quickly.
Yeah. It was pretty quick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think they thought the business was viable, and maybe they wanted to do the best for him and give him the best advice they thought, which was stick at his job. He's got a good job.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. And then Lawrence did try to plead his case a bit more in the boardroom as the next candidate to be given the boot. He did sort of try and say that he wanted to stick around and what he could do, but yeah, Lord Sugar had made his mind up, saying, "Lawrence, I don't have any confidence in your business. Burn." That was very brutal, but there you go. Lawrence projecting and being ambitious in his numbers ultimately was the reason that he was fired, and obviously Lord Sugar just thought he wouldn't be the right fit business wise.
Yeah, just not. At least from what we saw, I don't think there was any appetite from Lord Sugar whenever he heard about Lawrence's business, or Priyesh's, to be honest. So they were the two early leavers.
Exactly. And then he sent out Karishma, Pasha and Dan back into the waiting room. And I thought, because we had spoken sort of throughout the whole time, Dan's business is about student recruitment and like the graduate jobs crisis. He'd also grown a lot in confidence, and you had predicted him as your runner-up. So I thought, oh no, James is completely correct. But when they came back in, surprisingly, Lord Sugar said, "Dan, I don't understand what your business is at all."
Yeah, I don't know. I wondered about that. I don't know. The edit didn't seem to give a proper reason, to be honest, because, it sounded like it was profitable. Yes, there needs to be more guidance, but surely that's something that Lord Sugar could help with. There is a good business that's been proven, and, the person at the head of the business just could do with a bit more guidance. So I don't know. Maybe it wasn't on his radar.
That is true. Karishma was told pretty straight off the bat when they came back into the boardroom that she was in the final, and I think everybody watching was really happy that her place was secured. And then Pasha, a bit of a dark horse, really. We haven't obviously seen too much of her. She was on the winning team, but she's been quietly confident. And I really enjoyed what Tim said. The spirit of The Apprentice is around bringing someone in that doesn't have a lot of experience, has a seed of an idea, and because of this process really puts them on the map and spots people before they've had their chance. Whereas I guess Karishma and Dan have had a certain level of success beforehand. So Pasha is the second person in the final.
Absolutely, and we've got that to look forward to next week. And now for my best part of the show is Apprentice News with Greer.
With me. So this week we've had some messages in and we've got some Apprentice news from Lord Sugar's trusted advisors. So the first one I feel like we need to acknowledge. A couple of our regular listeners, Adam and Rihanna, have messaged to say that they actually called it that Karishma was going to be the winner, or at least in the final, way back in, and they've given us the date, the 19th of February, which I really enjoyed, which at the time they said that Karishma is pulling out ahead to be a top contender for the series. So, okay, you called it. Listeners are getting predictions now too, James. We need to start writing these down.
We do. I need to, for next year, you need to buy me a book.
Yes, a proper a legal pad where you write all of this in. That would be good.
Exactly.
And then something I saw on Instagram is that Linda, who we've had in this episode, she has been making update posts about every episode, which I really enjoy, sharing her quite fiery opinions, as we like to say. But she did a video talking about the main thing that she says that they don't teach you in school about interviews, and her top tip. And it is that you need to walk into an interview being prepared to say how you solve all of the problems thrown at you. So you need to be solutions based. You can't just come in being, I guess, professional and polished. You need to be prepared to adapt and actually to, I guess, come with solutions for anything that you're faced with. And she definitely points out a lot of problems. So you can see why she likes that in interviews. So
I wouldn't like Linda to interview me.
Well, that is all of the interviews discussed and done. What a great episode. It's one of our favourites every year that we always like going through. And next week, I can't believe it, it's going to be the final. We're going to find out whether it's Karishma or Pasha gets Lord Sugar's investment. So, James, do you have a final thought for us this week?
Which type of care will it be next week?
Nice. Well, tune into Back to the Boardroom then. We'll be here just after the episode. See you then.
Bye.